Okay, good morning to all. In the last lecture, we have completed about the FIR filter designs. So today we go for the just some few points of their comparison. Then we start the IR filter design. So let us discuss that comparison of. Am I audible to all? Am I clearly audible to all? Okay, okay. So comparison of design methods for linear phase FIR filters. So in this chapter, actually total three designs for the FIR filters was discussed. One is the windowing method, another is the frequency sampling method, another is the Chebyshev approximation. So as far as our theory and details of the examples are concerned, we have discussed the windowing method and frequency sampling method in detail. And Chebyshev approximation is given in your book. Four different design tables are given only for your understanding only, so you can just go through that for Chebyshev approximation. As no examples was there, I have skipped that topic, so just only few equations are given for the Chebyshev approximation. Four different cases are given: symmetrical with odd and even, anti-symmetrical with odd and even. So four different cases and their equations are discussed only. So that is a Chebyshev approximation. So the main thing about the Chebyshev approximation is, instead of getting the error, or you can say that whatever our desired response and whatever our actual response, whatever error we are getting, so in this Chebyshev approximation, these filters are designed in such a way that error is equally distributed between passband and stop band ripples. So what happen, your average error will be reduced. So they try to approximate the desired response in such a way that error will be reduced. The only thing is that about the Chebyshev approximation, and four different cases and their equations are given. Okay, and it is also known as a equiripple filters design. Equiripple means they are try to manage the ripple in such a way that your error between the desired response and actual response will be minimized. So let us discuss the points. So the design method based on the use of windows to truncate the impulse response HDN and obtaining the desired spectral shaping was the first method proposed for designing linear phase FIR filter. So as we have discussed, this linear windowing method, or you can say the windowing method, is the first method which is used to truncate the impulse response and obtain the desired spectral shaping. That was the first method. Second is the frequency sampling and the Chebyshev approximation method were developed in the 1970s and has since become very popular in the design of practical linear phase FIR filters. So the major disadvantage of the windowing design method is the lack of precise control of the critical frequencies such as omega p, omega s in the design of low pass filter design. So if anybody asks you what is the main drawback or limitation of the windowing design, is the lack of precise control over the critical frequencies such as omega p, omega s in the design of a low pass FIR filter. The values of omega p and omega s depend on the type of window and the filter length m. So these values omega p and omega s, they are depending on the type of window you have selected and the length of filter. If you selected some particular window, it will give you proper response, and also if you increase the length of the filter, your response will be more sharper. So these parameter will affect the design. So these are whenever you design any filter, based on this parameter you will get the response. So every time you have to go for this tuning of this parameter, then only you are getting the proper output. So this is a major limitation or drawback of the windowing design method, where you are not able to precisely control the critical frequencies. So the frequency sampling method provides an improvement over the windowing design method, since HR omega means we are taking the real part of HR that is specified in the frequencies omega k, that is 2 pi k by m, or omega k, that is pi or 2k plus 1 by m, and the transition band is multiple of 2 pi by m only. This method is particularly attractive when the FIR is realized either in the frequency domain by means of the DFT or any of the frequency sampling realization. So these methods are attractive when you design the filters in the frequency domain by means of DFT or any of the frequency sampling realization methods. So the attractive feature of this realization is that the real part or HR omega k is either 0 or unity at all frequencies except in the transition band. So whatever your transition band, only in this transition band you are getting the non-zero values. For remaining, either you are getting 0 or unity frequency terms. So the next is Chebyshev approximation method provides total control of the filter specifications, and as a consequence, it is usually preferable over the other two methods. As I told you, in the Chebyshev approximation, they provide the precise control, or they are try to reduce the error in such a way that the error will be spreaded between passband and stopband ripple. So it is also known as a equiripple filter design. So it is usually preferable over the other two methods. So for a low pass filter, the specification are given in terms of the parameters: passband frequency, stopband frequency, delta band, passband ripples, stopband ripples, and length of the filter. One can specify the parameter omega p, omega s, m, delta 1, and optimize the filters relative to the delta 2, means the stopband ripple, by spreading the approximation error over the passband and the stopband of the filter. These methods result in an optimal filter design in the sense that for a given set of specification just described, the maximum side lobe level is minimized. So the Chebyshev filter method is work like this: spread the approximation error, whatever approximation error between your desired response and actual response, over the passband and stop band of the filter. So that error is spreaded equally. So this methods result in optimal filter design in the sense that for a given set of specification just described above, the maximum side lobe level is minimized compared to the other two methods. So the Chebyshev approximation method is more preferable compared to these two. So as we discussed, just give you a summary again. Windowing method, due to truncation and all, and as your filter response is based on the type of window and length of the filter, this is one limitation or one disadvantage of the windowing method. In frequency sampling method, you have to go for the real part of this, and this is attractive only when you are using the realize the filter by means of DFT or any other frequency realizations. And the main attractive part of this is it is having the real part HR omega k either 0 or unity at all frequencies except in the transition band. And last lecture we have solved few of the examples of the frequency sampling method, in which you notice that in few of the example you are getting only few non-zero values, other values are either 0 or 1. In most of the cases you are getting the 0 values. Out of 5 components, only 2 components having value, 3 components having the 0 value. So this is the attractive feature of the realization. You are getting the either 0 or unity values except in the transition band. So only in the transition band you are getting some particular values. And then Chebyshev approximation method, as we discussed just now, it was nothing but it spread the error uniformly, approximation error in uniformly. So you are getting the reduction in the error which is created between the actual response and the desired response. So these are the three methods. Out of these three, Chebyshev approximation is more preferable. So this is the comparison of design methods for linear phase FIR filter. Windowing method we discussed in detail. We solved the examples. Frequency sampling method we discussed in detail as well as we solved the examples. But in the Chebyshev approximation, this is the only thing that we have to discuss, that is how it spread the error, and 4 different cases are given in one table format in your book. I just suggest all of you to go and read that table only. Only the equations are given based on the type of the filters: symmetrical, odd values, symmetrical, even values, non-symmetrical, even, and non-symmetrical, odd values. So 4 different cases are discussed only. Okay, so now we go for the next, that is the design of IR filters from analog filter. Prior to starting the IR filter, let me ask few of you how you can compare the FIR with the IR. I'm stop presenting, just ask a few of you about the, are you aware about the FIR and IR or not? Because when we discuss about the structure of FIR filter and IR filter, we have discussed these things. Okay, roll numbers 15, CO 15, Satyam Datta, please unmute. Roll number 15, UI 18, CO 15, Satyam, please unmute.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, can you compare FIR filter with IR filter?
Sir, the the responses of FIR filters are finite and the IR filters are infinite.
Okay. Another. This difference you can easily say from their
Full forms.
you can say
Yes,
from the
sir.
name itself, finite impulse response and infinite impulse response. What are the other things? No idea.
No, sir.
Okay, let me ask someone else. CO26, Kamalkant, please unmute. UI18, CO28, Kamalkant, please unmute. CO35, Harshdeep, please unmute.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, can you tell me the few points, comparison points for FIR and IR?
Sir, just
Please unmute and tell.
sir. Actually, I don't remember.
You don't remember? We discussed
No.
about this comparison when we discussed about their structure implementation.
Yeah, sir. We discussed.
Okay, anybody please comment. Those are aware about the difference. I can ask only that people. Because prior to starting the IR filter design, at least you know the basic differences between FIR and IR. Please comment yes if you are knowing the differences, not exact differences, but few points at least you remember. Yes, please. Nobody knows the points. Okay, Tanmay, please.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Uh, Sir, in the FIR filters, we can't use the feedback filter, in the sense the feedback circuitry. But the FIR filters can support linear phase filtering as opposed to IR filters, which does not support linear phase filtering.
Okay. Anything else?
So we can say that FIR does not support the recursive behavior of any impulse response, while the IR can support it.
Okay. Recursive and non, what do you mean by recursive behavior and non-recursive behavior?
So recursive behavior, in the sense, we can implement the impulse response over a period of over the periodic time, which gives us the periodic values in the impulse response.
Okay. Okay, good points. So let me discuss the same points whatever Tanmay told us, and want to add one more point over there. The thing is, FIR is defined as a non-recursive type, as Tanmay told. IR is defined of recursive type. If I want to categorize these filters, FIR belongs to the non-recursive category and IR belongs to the recursive category. In FIR filter, one thing is when we go for the implementation or a structure, you notice that it depends on the present input. So whatever sample you are taking, samples depend, output samples depend on the present input and the previous input samples only. Here, present output samples depend on present input, past input, and also output samples. So when we go for the structure design, this was the difference between the FIR and IR filter. And as the main name suggests, finite impulse response and infinite impulse response, these are the main difference. Another is FIR support linear phase and non-linear phase both, but IR will not. Okay, so let us start with this IR implementation or IR filter design. Okay, so design of IR filters. Here, whatever designs are available in your syllabus, they are based on the design of IR filters using analog filters. Why using analog filters? Because Analog filters design is well developed. Lots of existing plans or the catalogs are available. Based on that, we can design the analog filters, and that problem can be defined in Z domain. First, it is defined into the, then it is transformed into the S domain, solved over there, and finally transformed back into the Z domain. So that transformation is required in this filter implementation. So when we are designing the digital filters, in the IAR case, we are just transforming the analog counterparts. So here, if I represent the analog function, that is given as HAS A, whatever the in the denominator in the subscript I written, that represent the analog. So numerator part and denominator parts. Numerator having the coefficients. Summation from n is equal to 0 to m bn s raised to n. In the denominator, summation from n is equal to 0 to n alpha n into s raised to n. With the coefficient here, whatever alpha n, beta n, these are the filter coefficients, and when whatever n is mentioned, that represent the order of the filter. So here, if we use the Laplace transform, the same thing can be represented by this equation. HAS, that is from the integration from minus infinity to infinity, h of t e raised to minus st into dt. Note that linear phase designs are not possible for causal and stable IR filter, since the following condition has to be satisfied. H of z is equal to plus or minus z raised to minus n, h of z raised to minus n. So what is the meaning? In this case, the filter would have a mirror image pole outside the unit circle for every pole inside the unit circle. So if you say your filters are linear phase, when they are linear phase, they must follow the symmetric condition. So in this case, what happen? Whatever poles you are having the inside unit circle, and when you get the mirror image of that, what happen? You are getting the same poles outside the unit circle, which make your filter unstable. When you say your filter is stable, all the poles inside the unit circle. But what happen when you implement the mirror image of that, and you assume that it is a linear phase? So in that plotting, what happen? Your mirror pole or mirror image pole will belongs to the outside the unit circle. So in that case, your system or your not system but IR filter will be unstable. So as a causal and stable IR filter cannot have linear phase. So you can conclude that by this we can say a causal and stable IR filter cannot have a linear phase design. So one of the simplest methods for converting an analog filter into the digital filter is approximate the differential equation by an equivalent difference equation. So this is the first method we are using, by using the approximation of derivatives. So this is the first method for IR filter design. So say this is known as the simplest method for converting an analog filter into digital filter is to approximate this differential equation by an equivalent difference equation. So analog filter can be described by its system function, which we already written on the previous slide. HAS, here I represent the numerator and denominator with the b and a coefficient itself. Bs by s is equal to summation from k is equal to 0 to m bk s raised to k. Here k is equal to 0 to n alpha k s raised to k. Here alpha k and beta k are the filter coefficients, or by its impulse response, which is related HAS by the Laplace transform. So here you can represent this thing with the help of Laplace transform also. HAS is equal to integration from minus infinity to infinity ht e raised to minus st into dt. So for the derivative, so here what we have to do, as per the first title it is written, approximate the differential equation by an equivalent difference equation. So now for the derivative, by the approximation of derivative, for the derivative dy by dt at time t is equal to nt, we substitute the backward difference equation ynt minus ynt minus 1 divided by t. So this is mentioned, this is the difference equation dyt by dt, where n is equal to, sorry, where t is equal to nt. So here we write this equation, whatever equation we have written over here, ynt minus t divided by t. So here when you simplify this, you are getting this yn minus 1 divided by t. So here whatever t we have written over here represent the sampling interval, and whatever yn can be considered as a ynt for this particular sampling interval. So yn is is equivalent to the ynt. So here we replace all these terms, whatever mentioned over there, with the n. So yn, we can take the ynt because t represent the sampling interval. For that particular sampling interval, we can take yn equivalent to ynt. So the analog differentiator with output dy by dt has the system function. If I am taking the analog differentiator with the output, this particular output dy by dt has the system function. What kind of system function that analog filter have? That is h of s is equal to s only. While the digital system that produces the output yn minus 1 by t has the system function. So if I want to produce the same output with the digital filter or digital system, then what kind of system function is required? Yn minus t, which we mention over here. And instead of taking this continuous function, if I do the sampling at the interval t is equal to nt, this will be the dy by dt. And for this, to produce this function, we require the yn minus ynt by t as the system function. H of z is equal to 1 minus z inverse by t. So whatever the response or impulse response we are getting, that is h of z is equal to 1 minus z inverse divided by t. So if I show you this thing graphically, if I'm using this analog filter y of t, I'm getting the y dy by dt, and the system function h of s is equal to s. Same thing if I produce in the discrete domain, then y of n will be yn minus 1 by t. As we have seen that here y of t is now sampled at t is equal to nt. So in this case, you can say that when you convert this continuous signal into the discrete domain, you get this output, and in this case your frequency or your system function will be h of z, or your impulse response will be h of z is equal to 1 minus z inverse by t. So we can say that this s, how this s and s domain is related with the z domain. So that equation we have written, s is equal to 1 minus z inverse divided by t. So whatever task done by this analog filter, same task you can achieve in the digital domain with this particular filter. So you can, this is h of s is equal to s, here h of z is equal to 1 minus z inverse by t. So this is nothing but your s domain to z domain transformation. Okay, so substitution of this backward difference equation for the derivative implies that the mapping s is equal to 1 minus z inverse by t, which we have written over here. Okay, all of you clear up to this? Anybody having any query? Okay, so this is up to the first derivative. Now suppose the second derivative of this equation dy by dt will be taken as d square yt by dt square is replaced by the second difference, which is derived as follows: d square yt divided by dt square. Again we are taking this t is equal to nt. So again we are taking the second derivative dy by dt of dy by dt where t is equal to nt. If you simplify this, you are getting this equation: y of n minus 2y n minus 1 plus y n minus 2 divided by t square. So in the frequency domain, above equation is equivalent to, this particular equation can be written like this: s square, because we are going for the second derivative, s square is equal to 1 minus 2 z inverse plus z raised to minus 2. Here you can notice this, here you are having the coefficient 2 and the sign is negative over here. So 1 minus 2 z inverse, here it is 1 by delayed n minus 1. So here you can represent it with the z inverse n minus 2, which is z square, and divide by t square. Simply you can write this equation: 1 minus z raised to minus 1 divided by t square. This is for the equivalent for the second derivative. Similarly, we can go for the kth derivative and write this equivalent frequency domain relationship as sk is equal to, s raised to k is equal to 1 minus z raised to minus 1 divided by t raised to k. So the system function for the digital IR filter obtained as a result of the approximation of the derivatives by finite differences. Okay, so the system function for the digital IR filter is obtained as a result of the approximation of the derivatives by finite differences, as here we calculated this h of z with the help of this analog filter HAS, where we are taking this s is equal to 1 minus z raised to minus 1 by z. So this is the final equation. You can say, we can say that how we achieve the digital IR filter with the help of analog filter and with the help of approximative of derivative. So here you can say that we derive the function h of z, which is nothing but HAS nothing but which represent your analog filter. But here we go for this approximation also, or this relationship also, where s is nothing but is equal to 1 minus z inverse divided by t. So here HAS is a system function of the analog filter characterized by the difference equation. Okay, so this is nothing but how we can achieve or how we can design the IR digital filter with the help of analog filter. Okay, now mapping from S plane to the Z plane, how we will achieve that mapping. So mapping from the S plane to the Z plane is given as, it's the same equation. Just a second. Okay, here earlier we derived this equation s is equal to 1 minus z inverse by t. If you simplify this equation, you will get this equation in the form of z. Earlier this equation is in the form of s. Now mapping from s plane to the z plane, so our final equation will be in the z form. So if you simplify this, you're getting this z is equal to 1 upon 1 minus s of t. So here we can write the equation for the s plane, so that is s is equal to j mo. So z is equal to 1 minus 1 minus, sorry, 1 upon 1 minus j mo t. And if you multiply this with 1 up plus j mod t divided by the same factor 1 plus j mod t. So here when you simplify this, you are getting this final equation for the z transform. This is the real part of this equation, this is the imaginary part of this equation. So here whatever more term we have introduced, it varies from minus infinity to infinity. The corresponding locus of points in the z plane is a circle of radius 1 by 2 and with center z is equal to 1 by 2. So if you apply the values of more term over here, that is varies from minus infinity to infinity, the corresponding points in the z transform is making a circle of radius 1 by 2 and their center, with the center z is equal to 1 by 2. So you can say that if I'm applying this value, this equation, if I'm applying the value of this more term over here in the s plane, okay, that particular s transform s domain is now transformed into the z plane like this. It will make the unit circle, not unit circle, but circle having the radius 1 by 2 with the center at the location z is equal to 1 by 2. So this is nothing but, you can say, mapping from s plane to z plane. How you can map the s plane into the z plane? So the mapping s is equal to 1 minus z inverse by t. Take the left half plane here, whatever left half plane is shown to you in the s plane, into the points inside the unit circle. Here you are getting whatever points you are getting, which is in the form of circle over here, which is inside the unit circle. This is the unit circle. So all your points are inside the unit circle and in this direction, means they are making the circle of radius 1 by 2 at the center 1 by 2 in the z plane. So what is the physical interpretation of this? So the mapping takes points in the left half plane of the s plane into the corresponding points inside this circle in the z plane, and points in the right half plane of the s plane are mapped into the points outside this unit circle. Here only left half points are shown to you, left half plane. If you point this right up plane, what happen? Whatever values you are getting, they will give you the value outside this unit circle. And here, whatever left up points are there, they are mapped inside the unit circle. So what is the meaning is, this mapping has the desired property that the stable analog filter is transformed into a stable digital filter. So whenever all points are in the left up plane in the analog filter, we can say that that filter is stable. Similarly, in the Z domain, when we say the points are stable, whenever your points are falling inside the unit circle. So here, by using this desired property, so whatever analog filter we are utilize for the design, in that all the points are in the left half plane, and using this transformation method, whatever digital filter we design, so we can by applying these values into the Z plane, we see that again they will give you the points inside the unit circle. So the meaning is, stable analog filter is transformed into the stable digital filter. So the possible location of the poles of the digital filters are confined to the relative small frequencies, and as a consequence, the mapping is restricted to the design of low pass filter and band pass filters having relative small resonant frequencies. Whatever mapping we have achieved over here, so one concern, or you can say one limitation over here for the design using this method is, whatever the possible location of the poles of the digital filters are confined to relatively small frequencies. Okay, so whatever digital filter you are design, and when you find out the poles, they are confined to the relative small frequencies. Only you can design the low pass filter or band pass filter using this particular method, because only small resonant frequencies are involved. Otherwise, other thing is, so the thing is, it is not possible, for example, to transform a high pass analog filter into a corresponding high digital filter. So using this particular mapping method, you are not able to transform high pass analog filter into high pass digital filter. The reason is, whatever poles we are getting, they are confined to the relatively small frequencies, so the that design is not possible. So this particular design method of analog filter transformation to digital filter is only useful for low pass filters and for the band pass filter. Okay, so again, one remedy is shown in the book, that is how we can overcome this and we can design the high pass filter, but that method is again complex. So at the end, the conclusion is, we are not utilizing this method, but to give you the idea how we are able to do that, some points are mentioned. So to overcome the limitation in the mapping, more complex substitution for the derivative have been proposed. In particular, an nth order difference equation of the form has been proposed. Instead of taking the kth order, here we go for the some higher orders, and that's nth order. Here it's shown. So in the nth order, you are getting this equation: 1 by t summation from k is equal to 1 to L alpha k y nt plus kt minus y nt minus kt divided by t, where alpha k are a set of parameters that can be selected to optimize this approximation. So here, whatever alpha k parameters are involved, we can set this parameter in such a way that they can optimize this particular approximation. So the resulting mapping between the S plane and the Z plane, if you apply this type of mapping, or when you go for the L difference order equation, then the mapping function of S will be like this: S is equal to 1 by t summation from k is equal to 1 to L alpha k z raised to k minus z raised to minus k. Here you can notice this, here y nt plus kt. So this is nothing but, we can represent the z domain with z raised to k, here minus y nt minus kt. So here the term will be minus z raised to minus k. Okay, so S is equal to 1 by t summation from k is equal to 1 to L alpha k z raised to k minus z raised to minus k. So by using this particular mapping, we are able to overcome this limitation. But again, let us apply some more values to derive the final equation. So z is, if we represent z in the format of e raised to j omega, you are getting this equation, which is purely here, as imaginary part is involved, which is purely imaginary. Hence, this more term will be 2 by t summation from k is equal to 1 to L alpha k sine omega k. By proper choice of the coefficients alpha k, it is possible to map the j mo axis into the unit circle. So here by proper selection of this alpha k term, we are able to map this mo term, or in the map this j omega. Your term will be j mo, no, not omega but more axis into the unit circle. We are able to map that particular equation into the unit circle. Points in the lower half plane in S can be mapped into the points inside the unit circle in Z. So whatever our requirement is, we have to design stable digital filter from stable analog filter. So when you apply this Lth derivative, is that is possible, you can design this you can apply the points in the lower half plane can be mapped inside the unit circle. Despite achieving the two desirable characteristic with the mapping, the problem of selecting the set of coefficient alpha k remains. So here whatever simplification we are shown, here one condition is assumed, or one condition is must be fulfilled to achieve this. That condition is we have to take this parameter alpha k to optimize the approximation. So every time we have to select this alpha k parameter in such a way that they will optimize this. Optimize means they will optimize this equation in such a way that whatever lower half planes points of S plane, they must be mapped inside the unit circle. So this is the simply as a statement, it is very easy to write. We have to select this parameter and we are able to do that. So this as far as theory is concerned, this is a solution. We can achieve we can have select this alpha k parameter in such a way that we are able to optimize this approximation. But in general, it is mentioned this is a difficult problem. Okay, every time selection of these parameters, it is a very difficult problem. And one more thing is some simple solution or simpler techniques exist for converting analog into digital IR filters. Okay, so as I told you earlier also, this method is suggested in your textbook, but that is a theory part. It is very easy to design or easy to suggest that this is a remedy, but as far as implementation is concerned, it is very difficult to implement or design such filters. So and one more thing is simpler techniques are already available. So here we shall not emphasize the use of Lth order difference as a substitute for the derivative. So we are not emphasize on this method as some simpler solutions are already available. Though as far as theory is concerned, you can say that this is the solution through which we are able to design the high pass filters using the analog filters, or we can map this circle, the S values into the Z plane values which fall inside the theoretical. Practically also it is possible, but as many simpler methods are available, so instead of using that method, we don't go for this particular Lth order difference equation. So you have to understand this. In IR filter design, this method is a theoretical solution. Practical implementation is difficult, so we don't go for this. This is a solution how we can achieve or how we can design the high pass filter with the help of this method. Okay, now let us solve one or two examples based on this, which are already discussed in your Procky's book. I'm taking the same examples. Converting the analog bandpass filter with the system function. Okay, here one analog bandpass filter is shown to you with the system function HAS is equal to 1 upon S plus 0.1 square plus 9. So S plus 0.1 square plus 9, and a digital IR filter by use of the backward difference for the derivative. Means whatever approximation or difference of derivative method you have studied, you have to use that method and design the digital IR filter from this analog bandpass filter. So simply you have to apply the mapping function and you have to design the digital filter. So let me show you this. Here as we derived, S is equal to 1 minus Z inverse divided by T. So in our equation, we are substituting that value in H of S, and that will produce the H of Z only. So H of Z is equal to 1 upon 1 minus Z inverse by T plus 0.1 square plus 9. So when you simplify this, you are getting this equation. T square divided by 1 plus 0.2 T plus 9.01 T square divided by 1 minus 2, 1 plus 0.1 T divided by 1 plus 0.2 T plus 9.01 t square into z raised to minus 1 plus 1 upon 1 plus 0.2 t plus 9.01 t square into z raised to minus 2. Okay, so here as you see that your equation having the numerator term t square. Okay, so to get the output from this digital filter, one thing is suggested, the system function h of z as the form of resonator, provided that the t is selected small enough, where t must be less than or equal to 0.1 value, for example, in order for the poles to be near the unit circle. So to get the stable system or whatever pole values you are getting, so you have to take the value of t is very smaller, less than or equal to 0.1, such a way that your poles must be near to the unit circle. Otherwise you will get the unstable filter, which is not required. We have to produce the stable digital filter from stable analog filter. So to get that, one condition you have to apply in this output, t must be less than or equal to 0.1, or simply you can say, if you are not applying any value, t must be t having the very small value or small range. Okay, so this is the output. Here you can say you are able to design this function. This function represents the resonator. The resonator means it give you the output to some having the higher amplitude output for some specific frequencies, and for the another frequency you are getting the very low response. So that's why it's known as a resonator. It produces the frequencies for some selected range of inputs. Okay, now all of you get up to this, please let me know. If anybody having any query, please ask. Okay, now we are taking the same example, only changes. Here we define the mapping function s is equal to 1 minus z inverse by t. Sometimes some customized mapping function will be given to you, and you have to utilize that function and find out the solution. Okay, so here convert the analog bandpass filter. This is the second example in which this s function is given to you. Convert the analog bandpass filter into a digital IR filter by use of the mapping. Here mapping function is s is equal to 1 by t z minus z raised to minus 1. Okay, instead of taking this in earlier case, we are taking the function s is equal to 1 minus z inverse by t. Here another mapping function is given to you, s is equal to 1 by t z minus z inverse. So if you apply this, you are getting this h of z. H of z is equal to 1 upon z minus z inverse by t plus 0.1 square plus 9. If you simplify this, you are getting the answer, that is z square plus t square divided by z raised to 4 plus 0.2 tz cube plus 2 plus 9.01 t square z square minus 0.2 tz plus 1. So compared to previous equation, what happened? In this equation, you can say you are having the 2 poles only, but here you are getting the 4 poles. This equation having the 4 number of poles. So you say that using this mapping function, it introduced the 2 additional poles in the conversion. So if I'm using this particular mapping function, it adds the 2 more additional poles in the digital filter compared to the previous mapping. So as a consequence, the digital filter is significantly more complex than the analog filter. So if I'm using this mapping function, again, the designing of that particular filter is possible, but it makes the system more complex by adding the additional poles in it. Okay, so this is a major drawback to the mapping given above. If these 2 things are given to you and you have to conclude something, the thing is you require the 2 additional poles. Okay, for the conversion of h of z from hs. Okay, so in this case you can say that it will give you it will add the more complexity in the conversion. So you are able to achieve the conversion, but it will not little but more complex compared to the previous one. So the digital filter is significantly more complex than the analog filter. So this is a major drawback to the mapping given above. So these are the 2 mapping examples we have taken today, and with this we are completing the first part of IR filter design. IR filter design using approximate derivative. In tomorrow's lecture, we go for the IR filter design by impulse invariance. Okay, so three different methods are there: impulse invariance, and last one is bilinear transformation. So these three methods, and then after we have to go for the some of the basic filter, Chebyshev filter, Butterworth filter, and their design. This is the only few topics remain in this chapter, which I try to cover by this week. Okay, if anybody having any query, you can please ask.